guys. Welcome to this episode of the Trainer Feed. We are your hosts. My name is Angel Sanchez. We have David Bravo.
Hi.
And Jacques Delagere.
What's up, everyone?
On today's episode, we're going to be covering mantras and positive talking or positive speaking.
Oh, boy.
So I don't have any studies to back this thing up, but I'm sure there are studies out there. So if you're interested, please feel free to take a dive into it. But I wanted to go over this because when working out and when training clients, I've started to become more aware of, language that's used within the brain when you're talking to yourself or you're thinking to yourself and you're just saying, damn, I'm tired today. I'm sluggish. I'm lethargic or whatever. I don't want to do this. And then also when training clients, I've trained some clients and, they'll start, I'll say, how's your body feeling? I think I spoke about that a little bit. And some will just say, it's fine. And they'll like compartmentalize all their problems and their body pains. Or others say, or repress it. And then others will say, oh, I'm so tired. Or, oh, I don't want to do this. Or, oh, this sucks, right? And one thing that I've noticed while, being aware of this is that sometimes I do that myself. Sometimes I wake up, doing what I got to do. And right before I step out the door, my brain just thinks, I'm tired. And, sometimes it's a habit. It's a routine that you just start saying to yourself, like, I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. But you're not really tired. Like, if you really think about where you're at, you might not be tired. Of course, maybe you are. But most of the time, at least for me, I'm not. I'm just either dreading what's going to come next or I'm not very excited about it. So that would be a better representation of what I feel. All that's to say, I think it's important to be mindful of that when it comes to training, right? Sometimes you'll hit a wall or you'll hit a plateau and then you'll get frustrated or you'll, look at your results and not be happy with it. And a little positive mantra goes a very long way. So sometimes if I'm doing an endurance thing or if I'm doing something strength related, I just gotta tell myself something and repeat it in order to help me get from point A to point B. Then when I get asked by people, how are you doing? I always try to think of the best version of myself. And I just say, I'm great. I'm doing absolutely phenomenal. Right. And so part of it is like, yeah, maybe it's a little bit sarcasm. Maybe it's not actually phenomenal, but it really isn't bad. And if I say that I'm tired, my body will start to feel that I'm tired. And then I'll start to think of today as just being like a shitty day. So positive self-talk is also important as well. But I'll spin it over to you guys. Do you guys have any mantras or do you find this relatable or is this not relatable? Am I not a human being? Am I experiencing something very unique?
Go first, David.
Yeah, let's start with David.
It's hard. It's hard to really, sometimes when you just don't feel like doing anything, and in my opinion, it's hard to be the one to be like, I'm doing great when in reality you're not. It's tough to do that because on one hand, you don't want to lie to yourself, but on the other hand, maybe, what is it? That saying, fake it till you make it, right? Like some people do say, just think of something positive and it'll make you feel a lot better. And, to some extent it does work. But I think something I've learned recently, it's instead of beating your own self up when it comes to just random stuff or working out or life, think about how you treat your friends if they're going through something similar. Like you be supportive of them. So ultimately, you just gotta be supportive of yourself.
Yeah, I go on, Angel. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was say I strongly agree with what you're saying, David. You have to be supportive of yourself. You have to put yourself. Can't often we find ourselves comparing ourselves to people and mentally understanding and being accountable for where you're currently at. And I think I spoke to Angel about this not long ago, but I was having some of these mantra reevaluations because I'm not happy where I'm at right now and like what I want to do. But on those days when you don't feel, for example, working out when you don't feel rested, but you only have a certain part of the day, certain mantras are knowing that I will feel so much better after. Like it's going and you know, and also and just being okay with communicating this stuff to my clients also, or anyone in this industry, or anyone who's looking to do movement, is not every workout is going to be the best. Not every workout is going to be 100%. And not every day you're going to feel at your best. But the idea is to just be as close, if you can, over a year span, over a month span, over a week span, if you can be as close to being at your 100% as possible, all within human reason, right? All within enjoying the process. I think that's ultimately the most important thing. So I hear you when I think, you know, oh, I have to get up at this time to start the day. I'm thinking, well, this is not forever, you know, and you know, we've all been there where we didn't, you know, we've maybe our first sessions of the day when it was the first time doing them at like 5:30 or 6:30 or 6 in the morning, like maybe that was a bit of a reality shock, right? But once we did it, and once we understood why we had to do it, a little bit of, you know, building our business to be successful, then we understood that that's what the long run is. That's what the bigger picture is. So kind of focusing on that. And then I think ultimately as well, like if someone's like, if you visualize where you want to be, but also like you said, David, like if you want to be just patient with yourself and just be, try not be humble, but try and just give yourself a bit of a break sometimes. I think sometimes something that helps me as well is when I write down like where I was like a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. And when you see pictures or videos or just knowing events that we did back then, you're like, wow, like it's not even a case about how much more I'm lifting today, but it's more about how I feel and how smarter I am about certain things, or how I do approach things differently and more sensibly, or like you just have to feel as though you've learned something in the past 5 years. That's just an example I do. And then as you mentioned, like we're all a bit different. So just because someone, you know, I think there's something to be said about someone's mental health in terms of if you can see someone achieving something in a fast pace, at a fast pace, and maybe in an earlier state you would be feel jealous or feel threatened. If you can be at that position to, you know, just take it half that person, but you know that's solid work, like fair play to that person, they put the work in, you know. um I try and take a page out of that book in terms of, you know what, I might not like the person or I might not like who this person stands for, but I still give them credit for, like, for example, if it's an athlete and there's some things I don't agree with, but I said, you know what, hats off to them, they worked hard for it, you know. Or it's just kind of how I put things into perspective with that, really. But I know I've kind of down a rabbit hole, but I just, I have these thoughts often. I know, Angel, I spoke to you about like not being, being a bit hungrier for something bigger or something, you know, that's not a finished product yet, but all right, it's not, you're not going to do it in one day, you're not going to lose it one day, but you're not going to get it in one day. So just like it's the other thing I'll finish this one segment on saying is, it's all well and good wanting change and wanting to do something, but if you're not doing something different, if you're not willing to do something different, then you can't really complain. Or you can't not complain, but you have to realize that you're saying one thing, but you're not having the action to do anything different. So you're not going to go anywhere, you know? I think that's not just nutrition. I think that's movement or career wise. I think if you're not doing anything different, the outcome's going to be the same. You know, there's probably the same, you guys know what it is, to people expect to do the same things, expect a different outcome, something like that. And that's kind of what I try and use to reel myself back in, you know? So.
Yeah. I think it's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome.
There you go. That's
Yo,
it.
don't call me crazy, John. Come on.
But no, yeah. And sometimes, for me at least, putting things into perspective when it comes to how far I've gone, how far, you know, I've come, it's for some reason psychologically, I'm sure they'll figure out why 100 years from now, but we don't ever really fully appreciate how much we've ever done, right? I think that that's why sometimes when you see like these award situations or like people go and, you know, get plaques or something like that, they're just like crying or bawling and they just can't even comprehend because of all the work that they've put in actually came to bloom at the same time. It was like a whole bunch of things just crossing over and it just managed to culminate into that one single point in a career or in a life. And it's pretty amazing. But on a day to day, it's almost like we can't really touch into that or tap into that. So sometimes it's helpful to have those reminders because that could also help with our self talk, right? Because then we'll be motivated to go out there every day and do something different, right? And maybe it's just having those little affirmations. One thing that I'm trying to do is I'm setting up my space a little bit differently. I'm reorganizing some stuff. And I wanted to put my certifications in a frame and put them on my wall. And the reason behind that is like sometimes I just don't even acknowledge, some of the stuff that I've done. And actually, probably most of the time, I don't really acknowledge the stuff that I've done. I just see myself as a trainer, a coach, and just is what it is. And if you want to train, you want to train. If you don't, you don't. And it's not to say that my poop don't stink, but I have accomplished a lot in, these past couple of years. And looking back at it, I can see that progress, and I should be proud of that progress, and I should be reminded of that progress. I actually it sounds shitty to say this, but I was inspired by a douchebag, or I think the guy's a douche, because like we were doing a certification, online certification, and people have this like Zoom thing or whatever, and the guy was talking, and he has like all his like degrees, and he has like this office, and it's like all this stuff, and like his name on a plaque, and I'm just like, all right, guy, like they're asking nonsense questions, like questions that just
like what
topics have been covered. I don't want to get into specifics, but the topics were covered. But the point is that every time he spoke, it was like his face popped up big, and then you get to see all the stuff around him, and that kind of irked me in a way. I was like, why is this guy just floss it? The saying, weird flex, but okay, like that thing. I felt like that.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah, I felt like that. And then afterwards, I realized like that's actually probably his affirmations, right? That those are the things that it not necessarily has to define you, but it might be a reminder to you that this is what you've done. And you can always keep accomplishing more, keep pushing for more. But those little accomplishments along the way really mean a lot, So it's similar to Jacques' story where he sees his pictures from before. And David, you were talking about just how like you wake up one day and you're just like, well, maybe today's not the best day, and you don't want to lie to yourself. It's like, yes, but you've also done a lot, right? And having those little reminders help you remember, yeah, I'm not in a bad situation. I'm not doing bad. Like I'm doing the same old with a little bit of different, same old with a little bit of different. And that is going to keep pushing us forward. So anyway, I was inspired by douchebag. So shout out to the douche. I did want to say another thing that helps is every time I get sick, I haven't been sick in a long time because it's illegal now to get sick.
I was sick
every time you get sick, or I get sick, I hate it. And you just lie there and you're just thinking like, I can't move, I can't do this, I can't do the third. And you almost wish to have one of those quote unquote, I'm using air quotes, average days back, right? Those average days where you're just like, you're waking up, you're tired, you're going to work, you're at work, you do your job, whatever, but you're not in pain. You don't have a fever, you don't have a cough, you don't have like, phlegm or whatever. Like you wish for that day, right? And it's just a reminder as to how good, like that's why when I said like I feel like half sarcastically say like I'm feeling spectacular, like yeah, maybe I don't feel like I'm Disney's on Ice or whatever, but I definitely feel a lot better than I do when I'm sick. And when I'm sick, I am bad. Like when people ask me like, how you doing, bro? I'm like, I'm fucked up, like I'm just sick, right? So yeah, those I was just gonna say that. Just haven't been sick in a while though.
Following up on that, I'm trying to stay off that as well, but we're all back. But following up on that, feeling sick. Oh, there's something I forget. Something else you said. I'm forgetting what you said, but it made me think of when someone says how you feeling, you're like, oh, I'm feeling okay. But like if you say you feel tired, and then you actually do feel tired, even though you're just saying or whatever. And I think, something I try and think of as well, whereas when you don't feel good, when you don't feel like walking, when you don't feel like doing this, I always feel right. There might be someone else in your position that's sleeping whilst you're working, but there's someone else. There's always someone else out there working harder. There's always someone out there working longer, smarter, more intense. And again, it's not to compare us with other people, but when it comes to, you feel like, especially now that it's, it's not light until 7:30 in the morning, and we're already at the club at 6 a.m. or out with a client by at least 7. It's hard to be like, oh man, like half the city's not even up yet, but like there's already somebody that's already finished their workout at 6. There's already someone that's finished working at 5, or whatever it is. Like I know you both got up early as well, but I try and think about that as well. Whereas, I never try and say, oh no, it's been a hard day. I'll just say like, I just know there's people out there working harder. Especially during like Angel, your fiance, like having walked the front line, there was no one else working harder, right? There's nothing even comparable to it. So just thinking about that as well. Whereas, if it's not to say that you're a polished finished product if you haven't completed your day or your week, or like if you're going in for a promotion, you haven't got there, you haven't worked as hard. But like, I just try and think of that too. Also, like, I want to work hard, but it's like there's someone like I talk to other people in our industry, and there's how much more work they're doing. I'm like, wow. All right, okay, that's good. That's like a bar. That's like a bar set. Okay, and everyone's different. We don't always compare, but like sometimes I like that to help me push myself a little bit more, So that's all I wanted to say was just I always keep that in mind. There's always someone who's taking a little farther or taking up a notch. So something I just keep in mind.
Yeah. David, any closing thoughts before I wrap this up?
Be your own best friend. Don't bully yourself.
Very well. Oh, well said, David.
That's well said. No, that's very well said.
And get back.
Don't be like, no, I'm not gonna bother saying it. I won't say it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Check out Spotify. Like it, save it, favorite it. Anchor.
Send it to your friends. Send it to everybody that moves.
David's on it. Send it.
Send it to your friends. Post it on your story. If you post it on your story, we can get a little shout out. Help us grow.
David, you got to get on that. So if you don't get a shout out, it's David's fault.
David's fault. Oh, let me plug in the 10,000 discount as well. If you guys are listening and you want a pair of 10,000, you want any kind of 10,000 gear, all you guys have to do when you check out is put in my last name, DELAUGERE, Deloger. You don't have to pronounce it for the discount. You are good. And if you forget, find me on my Instagram. Find me on here. You'll see the last name.
We'll put it on the Instagram caption. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll put it on for you guys, so don't worry about it. But it's these are the best shorts in the game. You guys want to rock these. So yeah,
you're
better than yesterday. You're
catch you in the next one.